Wanted that I couldn't read them. I was a subscriber for many years to Maclean's. I immediately cancelled my subscription to Maclean's magazine on that account. I told them when I want a liberal paper, I would subscribe to a liberal paper. I think it was awful. I think Newman didn't know John at all. I don't think that he has changed very much in all the years that I've known him, and I've been very, very close to him. He's always been a man for the underdog at all times. And when you leave home when I am 47, when you leave home up on the hill at 7 o'clock in the morning, he was lucky to get to his office at 8:30. He would stop and meet people on the street working, the street sweepers and so on like that, and chat and talk to them.
How's everything? How are you? Glad to see you. Very best.
The greeting of a politician in his hometown is notable for warmth and brevity.
Here's the barbershop. He's another one of these Confederates, this guy here?
You don't know that version?
I see you.
All politics.
I'm not going to walk around today.
No, I
don't. Right back to the hotel now. I haven't got this equipment. These Easterners, you know, they're dolled up.
I think they
to
bored
meet all
some-
eventualities.
I think they bored some of this around here, didn't they, John? Because I saw something going out there. I guess they don't have sandals on there.
Well, Jim,
Well, be good, John.
very bad.
Best of luck to you, John. Journey all the way back to Ottawa.
All right.
I got a nice little barbershop where you use one of his owls.
I haven't seen you for a long time.
How are you? Very happy.
You're not changing any at all.
Oh, now that makes me feel good. Thanks very much, Frank. How's business?
Oh, a little bit slow after Christmas and New Year's, you know.
What year did you start in Prince Albert as a barber?
When?
What year?
25.
Yes, about the same time as I
It's
came.
about 39 years ago.
Yeah,
Frank, well, I'm glad to see you, Mr.
well, all the best, Frank.
Well, yeah. Thank you.
I was right around
And here, the Lake Centre returns to that 1940 election.
Well, I declare, you've got that.
See that sweet melody called doodly-doo, doodly-doo. I like the rest, but the part I like best is a doodly-doo, a doodly-doo. Simplest thing, there's nothing much to it. You don't have to think, just doodly-doo it. I love it so. Wherever I go, I doodly-doo, doodly-doo, doodly-doo. You didn't get the last doo-doo, John.
I want to get that.
I would like you to join me here.
No, I can't be a double feature.
You can't sing. Well, this is real good because I was afraid he was going to ask me to sing one of the conservative songs, and I don't know any.
I thought that was the liberal hymn, doodly-doo.
I came up to Mr. Diefenbaker's office one day, and he said, I want to show you something funny, Walter. So I said, what is it? And he said, here's a letter I received after we lost the appeal, after we lost the case, rather, in the first instance, from Mr. Camrod. And it said, Mr. Diefenbaker, what kind of a lawyer do you think you are? Do you think I pay money for nothing? Camrod. Now, he said, I'll show you the letter I received after I won the appeal. Dear Johnny boy, you sure are the hole in the donut.
Chairman, George, and I am not going to make a speech this evening. I came here intending to make a very serious speech. And then I listened to the nature of the program and the happy circumstances of the meeting and decided that I would not. But I do know one thing, that here in this province of Saskatchewan was given to me the idea that discrimination was dangerous, that determining a man's worth as a Canadian on the basis of his racial origin, his blood counts, or his color would never build a Canada. This organization is Canadian. I hope that within its ranks there will be representative of colored races, so that all over the world, when people speak of the kinsmen, they'll say, it accepts the principle of the equality of all men without regard to race or color, and it practices what it preaches. In other words, that it is a colorblind organization.
They don't get around as fast as they used to go. They're getting kind of slow. Their batteries running low. They don't get around as fast as they used to go. Many long years ago. Many long years ago. Many long years ago. They don't get around as fast as they used to go. Many long years ago. Many long years ago.
They may not get around as fast as they used to go, but you can't prove it by Dief. He sets a furious pace, hops around the country garnering support wherever he can find it. An ex-prime minister doesn't raid a government plane, but Diefenbaker never travels incognito. The chief is on his way back to Ottawa now to face the final test. Will the pack vote to affirm his leadership, or will they claw him to shreds and elect a younger wolf in his place? In the jungles of partisan politics, the leader is only as good as his last kill. Because of his age and his cunning, because of his fang and his claw, so long as he fights all contenders, the word of the head wolf is law.
No leader, no man, whatever his dedication to his country and his party may be, can ever march forward facing the foe if afraid that there's somebody behind him who's going to interfere directly or indirectly. Can lead if there's uncertainty. I know that there are many who are as conscientious as I am, who feel that there should be a secret vote. I will not say to you what that will mean in the years ahead. On the other hand, I don't want you leaving here and saying, if we'd have had a secret vote, it would have been otherwise. I want you to decide. If you decide on a secret vote, that's fine with me. For I want want to know where I stand. I want to know where you stand, too. That's what I want to know.
The vote is taken and the chief is sustained. He can rest now and seek his peace. But there are howls raised against him, and the young bloods will not easily give up. Now, the convention behind him and the pack once again obedient to his call, the leader must prepare for the battles to come. Many charges have been raised against him. He's prepared to answer them all, but in his own time and in his own way.
Oh, Mr. Leiterman, it's very interesting. When they talk about decision, Prime Minister sits in his office, his home. The hours are long. If he discharges his responsibility, he'd start at 6 o'clock in the morning and work until 11 o'clock at night. Social relationships end. It's a tremendous job, made more difficult because of our peculiar circumstances in Canada. Our racial divisions, our vast areas. He bears the responsibility. That's what he undertook. Nobody yet has been conscripted as a prime minister. The only reason one will accept this type of position and responsibility is because he believes he has something to contribute to his country. He knows he'll be condemned. Everything that he does will be criticized, not in a general sense. We'll want that in a democracy. But everything will be suspect and subject to a continued barrage of condemnation. And he has to make the decision with his cabinet. Now let me give you an example. Wouldn't it have been much easier for me on behalf of the government to have continued the Arrow? It was a beautiful aircraft. Wonderful. Didn't operate very far. But it was a fine example of workmanship. I had to make, in the finality, that decision. For over every prime minister's desk hangs that motto that was referred to one time by President Truman: the buck stops here. If he makes a decision that's wrong, it can't be repaired. All prime ministers who've been successful in this country have been condemned because they did not make off-the-cuff decisions. Well, I realized what would happen in connection with the Arrow. When one's faced with a problem like this, there is a higher source of strength. If one doesn't have that higher source of strength, he can never bear the attacks made on him or the statements that one wouldn't make about anyone in private life. He has to have that strength and that faith. He has to believe. He has to be assured that ultimately right is going to triumph. This came to me. I knew that 10,000 men and women would be out of work, ultimately, by this decision. I knew that a great industry that had been established would be weakened, but it was right to end it. So on I could go with decisions. Oh, yes, there's so many other matters. Is it indecisive to say that when they want to double the salary of anyone, that the